Hi guys, welcome to today's Tea with Toyin. So I wanted to do a very in-depth guide to how to become your own dream woman in 2025. I feel like 2025 is the year where we are taking back our power and just becoming the best version of ourselves. So I've broken up this video into 5 parts. I'm going to start with how to become the best version of yourself physically, then emotionally, socially, financially, and then I'm gonna finish with professionally and academically. So physically, my number one advice is to invest in seeing a nutritionist routinely. The reason why I'm so adamant about seeing a nutritionist is because we all know that we shouldn't be eating bad food, but we still do it. We all know we shouldn't be binge eating. These bad eating habits that we have, we know that they're bad, but we still do it. So it's not like we don't know what to do, but I think with seeing a nutritionist, it forces you to hold yourself accountable, because every week or every other week you're telling your nutritionist your goals, and then throughout the week, if you're doing things that contradict your goals, it just doesn't sit right with you. Like, I had to go to the pharmacy and then I was hungry and I almost grabbed a bag of chips, and then I had to remind myself, like, I'm literally seeing my nutritionist tomorrow and I'm gonna be talking to her about everything that I've eaten the past week. It doesn't make sense to be telling her about the goals I have, but then in my real life to have actions that contradict that. So I'm such an advocate of seeing a nutritionist or investing in personal training. And obviously, if you can't afford these things, the beauty of social media is the fact that there is so much free information online. So you can find fitness influencers, you can find nutritionists on social media. I just think when you have one in your own life, it makes a bigger difference because you directly have someone who's holding you accountable and who you're meeting with routinely. But obviously, if you can't do that, there's so much free information online. Another piece of advice to glowing up physically is to have a specific workout that you like and commit to doing it however many times a week, and make that your commitment to yourself. Whether that's hot yoga, Pilates, resistance training, a sport that you like. Not only does it physically change you, but it builds your confidence and trust in yourself when you say that you're gonna do something and you actually do it and you commit to it, and you see the difference in your body and your energy, and you just start glowing inside and out. And I find that when you really stick to a workout routine, it transcends into other areas of your life. So you'll naturally just be more inclined to start eating healthier and going to sleep earlier. You won't be so inclined to be eating these unhealthy foods, because when you're disciplined in one area, it usually leads to you being disciplined in other areas. That's why I love to start with working out or exercising whenever you feel lost or whenever you feel like you need a glow up. Start with the gym and start being really consistent with going to the gym, and then either invest in personal training or invest in seeing a nutritionist. And again, it doesn't have to be for a whole year. It doesn't even have to be for half a year. If you see a personal trainer for 3 months or a nutritionist for 3 months, they will tell you so much information that you will hold with you for the rest of your life. Like, I invested in personal training in 2021, and all of the exercises, all of the knowledge that she gave me, I still have with me. I still remember. Same with the nutritionist that I'm seeing. And I think in regards to physically becoming the best version of yourself, what really helps is when you have an image of what the healthiest version of yourself feels like and looks like, and you just like really step into that image and embody like how you would feel, like how happy you would feel if you really were the healthiest, best version of yourself. You know, you would no longer be sleep deprived, you would no longer be constantly bloated, you would feel confident in the clothes you're wearing, your energy would just be so much lighter and happier. So for me, I'm really big on visualization. I think that it's so powerful, and it's such a good way to motivate yourself to stay on track. Whenever I have a goal, especially when it comes to the gym, I just really embody how happy I know I'm going to be if I really stick to this routine for 6 months. And even on days when I don't feel like doing it, I just do it because 1, I said I would, and 2, I have been visualizing what I'll feel like and look like if I really stick to this routine. And next, find a skincare routine that works for you. There is so much free information on YouTube and on TikTok and just on the internet. There are so many dermatologists online who specialize in so many areas, so you can find whatever condition you have, whatever issue you're having, you can find it all. If you can't afford seeing a dermatologist or you don't have a dermatologist, find one online. They're literally everywhere giving free information, telling you exactly what you need to do. I love Dr. Alexa Stevens. I follow her. She gives so much information. She tells you literally the products that you need, why you should be using them, the difference that'll have in your skin. So just find a dermatologist that looks like you or specializes in the area that you need help in, and just be really consistent with your skincare routine. I feel like when it comes to physically glowing up, you have to be really consistent, whether it's going to the gym, seeing a nutritionist, your skincare, all of those things. You have to be super, super consistent for you to see the results. Okay, now in regards to emotionally becoming the best version of yourself, my first piece of advice is to invest in therapy. And again, it doesn't need to be for a whole year. Even 3 months can have such a difference in the way you're able to regulate your emotions, the way you're able to respond to people and to show up in this world and to show up for yourself. When you think about your dream woman, how would she react in certain situations? How would she respond to other people when she's upset or when she's overwhelmed or when she's anxious? A question that I sometimes ask myself is, how would the best version of myself respond to other people when I'm angry or when I'm upset or when I'm overwhelmed and anxious? The very best version of myself, how would she respond? And that's the way I like to act until it becomes natural to me. And that's always my number one piece of advice, is act the way that your dream version of yourself would act until it becomes natural to you. I think investing in therapy can really help that. And for me personally, I think that if you're able to spend money going on vacation every year or spending money on clothes that you're only gonna wear a few times, then you can allocate some money to investing in your own emotional health so that you can now regulate your emotions and respond better to other people and have a better understanding of your trauma and what you've been through. And obviously, if you can't invest in therapy, or if you're not in a place where you're ready for therapy yet, honestly, just being curious and introspective of how you act in different situations and just getting really, really introspective can be another way to work on your emotional health, and journaling and just watching YouTube videos. There's a lot of licensed therapists and there's a lot of psychologists on YouTube. Even just being somewhat curious into that side of you will have an impact on your emotional health. Okay, and now socially. So in order to socially become the best version of yourself, you first need to ask yourself, in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s, what do you want your social life to look like? And in your dream life, what would your social life look like? If you're like me and you want to have a really abundant social life, I feel like you need to put in the effort now to develop these friendships and maintain these friendships and put in effort into building a community. And personally, I feel like people who initiate and people who host and people who organize, like, there's always a friend who is the one to initiate plans and to host people and to organize plans and to get people together. I feel like people like that never complain about being lonely and wanting more friends. Sometimes I find that it's the people who like don't put a lot of effort in their social life are the ones who will then complain about not having friends and being lonely. I really think there is a relationship between putting in effort in your social life and having a pretty active social life. If you don't put any effort, you're not gonna have an active social life. And I think you just need to get comfortable being uncomfortable when it comes to making new friends. And something that I always tell myself is that most people want more friends. Like, you don't really hear most people saying that they don't want any friends. So you kind of have to get a little bit comfortable being uncomfortable when you're in social settings. Like, if you're at a workout class, I became friends with this girl at Barry's because we were both in the change room and we were both taking so long to get ready, and I just said hi to her, and then we found out that we had so much in common, and now we're friends. And I find that going places that you naturally would go to, so like workout classes or networking events, are great places to meet women who are like you, because obviously, like, if you're paying for a workout class or if you're paying for a networking event or a meetup, if you're paying for it, that means you care about it and the other people around you also care about it, so you already have one thing in common. And I also feel like when it comes to socially becoming the best version of yourself, it's not always about quantity. Sometimes just having one or two really, really solid good friends is all you need and can be super fulfilling. And now financially, the number one rule is to stop shopping as a hobby. That was such a bad habit of mine when I was younger, especially during COVID. I guess because I just had free time and I was bored, I would just shop. Like, I would just buy clothes for no good reason. It's not like I really had anywhere to go, but I just really enjoyed shopping. And I really wish that I instead tuned into listening to podcasts and reading books about how to become more financially literate and financially free. In my opinion, I feel like another way to improve in this area is to stop having collections of so many things like perfume and makeup and skincare. Like, you don't need to have like these huge collections of so much stuff. I feel like you should just be more intentional with what you're buying and only replacing items after they finish. I think a number one rule for 2025 is no more overconsumption and no more unnecessarily buying things that you don't really need. I think that meeting with a financial analyst or somebody that can really help you with setting goals and figuring out what you should prioritize can be really, really helpful. When I graduated university, and I started working, that was something that I did, and immediately she told me to start investing in which accounts I should be investing in. And I'm really grateful I did that, because you will never regret saving money and you will never regret investing and just having a solid savings account. It allows you to just feel so much more secure when you have a decent amount of savings and when you're investing and when you're actively working towards these goals. And I feel like when it comes to becoming the best version of yourself financially, you just have to ask yourself, in your dream life, what does your day-to-day lifestyle look like? What is your dream version of herself able to provide herself? Like, what apartment does she live in? What clothes does she wear? What kind of job does she have? And that can be a source of motivation of what you're working towards. I feel like sometimes if you don't have any goals and you're kind of just aimlessly working and saving money or spending money, it can be hard to stay consistent because you're not really working towards anything. But same with glowing up physically, how you have an image of what your best and healthiest version of yourself physically would look like and feel like financially. What would the dream version of yourself financially be like? What would her situation be like? What kind of job would she be working? Would she be working for someone, or would she own her own business? Just have an image of that in your head and work towards that. I love Pinterest. It's probably, aside from YouTube, it's probably my second favorite social media app, because you can just create a vision board for anything, and you can create a vision board for your dream life. You can just make a board of what like your dream house would look like, or your dream apartment, or your dream car, like all of that stuff. I love visualization and seeing images of the life that I could have. It's such a big motivator to stay financially literate and to understand money, understand how to invest money, and understand how to make more money, and setting yourself up to be like financially free and independent when you're older. And now when it comes to professionally and academically, in your dream life, what does life look like for you in your 30s and 40s? And I feel like whatever that image is for you, that's what you need to be working towards. Whether it's professionally or academically, when you're working towards something, I feel like it helps with life feeling more meaningful when you're working towards something, because you feel a sense of purpose. I remember before I started my master's degree, I genuinely felt so stagnant in my life. I felt like my life was so boring and I just wasn't doing anything. And now starting my master's degree, I feel like I've reawakened my sense of purpose and curiosity about this world. Like, you know, when you're little and you're just so curious and eager to become someone in this world, I feel like going into this master's degree has reawakened that part of me, and now I just feel so much more purposeful and just eager to just do something with my life and work towards all of my goals. Setting yourself up to be in a financially good place should be one of your top priorities when you're pursuing an academic career. So speak to people who are where you want to be and just like ask them how they did it and what their advice would be. And I feel like that is a great way to go about your professional and academic goals, is just to find people who are doing what you want to do. Like, use LinkedIn, use the internet to find these people, have coffee chats with them, and just ask them like how they did it and what their advice would be for you. I also feel like you just have to be so real with understanding how expensive the lifestyle that you want is. Like, genuinely do the math for how much it would cost to have an apartment, how much it would cost to have this and that, and figure out what jobs you need in order to allow yourself to have that lifestyle, and what you need to do in order to get that job, whether it's what you need to study in school, if you need to get any licenses or any certifications, exactly what you need to do to get that job in order to have that lifestyle. You need to reverse engineer your academic and career goals and figure out exactly like step by step what do you need to do to get to where you want to be when you're older. I'm such an advocate of women just setting themselves up financially to be in a good place, and I think it really should be one of your top priorities, especially when you're young, is just thinking long term and thinking about the life that you want to have. And yeah, that is today's tea with Toyin. Thank you so much for watching. I feel like it really just takes 6 months of being consistent in one of these areas or all of these areas to see a difference. It doesn't have to take 5 years. It doesn't have to take 3 years. Really, in 6 months, if you commit to the gym or seeing a nutritionist or dermatologist, commit to school, your career, any of these things, you will see a difference. It doesn't even have to take a year. You can see a difference in 6 months as long as you have an idea of where you want to be, you visualize it, and you're really consistent with it. So yeah, happy Sunday, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.